Commentary from Michael and Marty Morrissey.
37-year-old Brendan Cummins starts his 71st championship match for Tipperary as they seek a place in the All-Ireland final for the 4th year in a row. Paul Kern captains a team that sees Brendan Maher and Shane McGrath in the middle of the field. Patrick Bonner-Maher leads the attack with John O'Brien at the edge of the square. Incredibly, Kilkenny are chasing their 7th All-Ireland final appearance in a row. And Brian Cody welcomes back Brian Hogan to centre-back. Kieran Joyce gets the nod for the number 7 jersey ahead of Richie Doyle in a side that has a formidable centre-field partnership of Michael Fennelly and Michael Rice. Up front, TJ Reid wears 11 with Henry Shefflin and Owen Larkin on the wings. The scene is set. The Battle of Croke Park begins. A place in the All-Ireland final on the 9th of September against Galway awaits. TJ Reid lays it off quickly as Kilkenny, playing against the breeze, get the very first score. After just 12 seconds of play, Aidan Fogarty ends the move with a defence-splitting movement. And once again, as Tipperary go into the attack, Brian O'Mara trying to lay back for his line forward. Pass wasn't great, comes instead to Shane McGrath. Nice turn. What about the shot? It's classy. Shane McGrath. Great score by the young hurler from Ballinahinch in North Tipperary. Michael Cahill tries to back it down. Now is Torrig Ma has to throw the sliotar high up into the air in case of being blocked. Good work this time by Richie Barr. Lays it off inside. Chance of an opportunity here, and it's well taken. Aidan Fogarty with his 2nd point of the match.
Yeah, he's a very direct hurler, but just interesting there, Torrig Maher going back towards the goals, and that's something I think that Kilkenny will be working on, stopping him clearing those long balls up the field and to put the pressure on him straight away there.
Michael Fennelly trying to get away from the touch. 2 Tipperary lads chasing after. Still Fennelly doing what Pat Delaney did back in the 70s, hopping the sliotar on the surface, but he loses possession. Noel McGrath gives it to Conor O'Mahony. Conor trots away, confident that a white flag will be raised, and that's exactly what's after happening down at the Hill 16 end, and it is now 4 points to 3 as Tipperary produce the goods.
That's a great score, Marty, but I think you'll get it, people at home get a sense for how strong the wind is. That last free by Brendan Cummins and that took there by Conor O'Mahony. Great catch by Richie Power.
What a catch by Richie. What a point by Richie Power. Straight from David Herity's puck out. Grabbed the sliotar in the air. Just drove it between the posts. Shane McGrath goes up for it. Comes back fast. Thomas Stapleton. Owen Larkin is there with the green and red helmet. There is club colours of James Stephens. Kilkenny City again goes for distance. Going up high is Noel McGrath, and on landing turns beautifully like a ballet dancer and hits that sliotar straight over the black spot. And once again, Tipperary and Kilkenny are level in Croke Park, level for the 3rd time. Goes down fires Michael Fennelly. Aidan Fogarty has already scored twice. Ball inside, hops nicely for TJ Reid. He has the space, Fennelly is to his left, there's a goal opportunity. Oh, brilliant save by Brendan Cummins. The clearance is not made, here comes Owen Larkin, the pressure is still on Tipperary. It's inside the large rectangle, no penalty given. The ball comes out just a little bit, and it's a free out to the Premier County. But should it have been a penalty? Was it a free out? Michael Duignan.
TJ Reid straight through and goes, did the unselfish thing, passed it over to Conor Fennelly. Brendan Cummins stayed on his feet very, very well. Then they failed to clear it, so we'll just get another look at Owen Larkin. Intercepted it here, gets the ball. There wasn't an awful lot. They held their ground and what they were supposed to do, and he went to ground, so I think the ref got it right.
And here comes Henry. To his right, Richie Powell. To his left, TJ Reid. Goal on here. Brilliant goal. A little piece of magic from one of the greatest teams we've seen. Shefflin had options available. Richie to his right, TJ to his left. He went left, and the result is what you see on your screen. Pick picked up this time by Pádraig Maher, puts the brakes on, changes direction, uses the short grip and goes down towards Patrick Bonner-Maher. Coming across is Noel McGrath, Lara Corbett, Pat Burke, David Herity. Herity loses the possession, it's into Pat Burke, it's a goal for Tipperary! More drama in Croke Park. First it was TJ Reid with a cracker, then comes this as the Thurles lads came in. Lara Corbett, fair challenge on David Herity, comes far as Pat Burke and into the back of the net. Finlay battling here with Paul Kerr, down first Pádraig Maher, and as he fell to the ground, hits it, an almighty wallop down towards Brian O'Mara. Lara Corbett has gone inside. O'Mara, Noel McGrath hits it quickly on the 45 and registers another point for Tipperary, and the sides are level for the 5th time in 33 minutes of action. As Colin Finlay swings the ball across over towards Aidan Fogarty, who arrives in spectacular fashion. Great catch, makes room for himself and flings it between the posts. Wonderful score by Aidan Fogarty, who has now scored 3 times, all of them from play. Quick puck out from Brendan Cummins. Switching play over to the far over side towards John O'Brien. Gets a little bit of space for the first time in this All-Ireland semi-final. And John O'Brien from Tumivara puts his name on the score sheet for the very first time. And once again, the Cats and the Premier County are level. Dropping ball. Patrick Bonner-Maher gets a touch. Taking the hit again. JJ Delaney. Playing well, Jackie Tyrrell actually. Tyrrell drives it long. Coming through the centre is Aidan Fogarty. He has the space, he's on the 20, takes a shot, and it's in the back of the net. Brilliant goal by Aidan Fogarty. And Kilkenny rejoice. And rightly so. A cracking shot by the Emeralds man Aidan Fogarty. And Brendan Cummins just got a touch.
Just brilliant wing forward play. Tommy Stapleton never moved in the right half back position, and Aidan Fogarty made a 40-yard run. Absolutely brilliant goal.
Batted away by Michael Cahill. Cillian Buckley is at the end of it waiting for it, and he scores in this All-Ireland semi-final. Kilkenny, by the way, have scored 1 goal and 7 points to Tipperary's 3 points in this second half. Brian Hogan begins to dominate the middle channel at number 6, down towards Henry Shefflin. Owen Larkin putting the challenge in and winning the hard ball against Paul Kern. He leaves Kern for dead, and Owen Larkin scores. The captain of Kilkenny beats the captain of Tipperary, and he strokes it beautifully past one of the best keepers in the game. His name is Brendan Cummins, but Owen Larkin scores for the first time in the All-Ireland semi-final, and surely he's booked the Cats for a place in the All-Ireland final against Galway. Ball breaks. JJ Delaney rackens up as usual. Little touch by Aidan Fogarty. Tries to get away from Paddy Stapleton. Stapleton without a hurl. Owen Larkin with a hurl, picks it up nicely, and there's more trouble for Tipperary. TJ Reid coming in, lovely jink inside, a rasper, another goal! Kilkenny are back to their very best. Who are we to question it? Hammered by Galway in the Leinster final, this is a mark of a truly magnificent team.
What a performance again, like they're just, we've said it so many times, the greatest team of all time. But what can we say? Another absolutely brilliant performance today.
Patrick Bonner-Maher unable to control it. Goes forward first, Cillian Buckley. Buckley drives it long and plays it simple. Down towards Owen Larkin and Richie Parr. Coming out towards Aidan Fogarty. Staying goal side is Paddy Stapleton. Fogarty looks back out first, TJ Reid. Trying that little jink again and then flings it high. Oh my word! It drops over the bar with a little bit of help from Brendan Cummins, but TJ Reid, what a magnificent point.
That's an absolutely brilliant point by TJ. Papa, another touch. Richie
Parr had the vision. Brian Hogan has the effort. And the score. Brilliant hurling by Kilkenny.
It's good for Galway, I think, too, that Kilkenny have won like this today, because, in case if there was ever going to be any complacency going into a final, Galway are going to have to know that unless they're at their very, very best. And, obviously Kilkenny will have the motivation of the Leinster final, but Galway can't let that worry them. They have to go back and do their work and get ready for the final. And there's another great score. There's a score from Henry now. I said he hadn't scored from play, and there's a great point from way out the field.
10 points for Henry Shefflin. He must have heard you, Michael, because that's his first point from play. And the full-time whistle blows in Croke Park. No question that Brian Cody is heading back to Croke Park, to this venue that he's graced for so many years as a player and as a manager. It's a repeat of the Leinster hurling final, which Galway won. What about that for a mouth-watering prospect? Full-time score in Croke Park. Kilkenny 424, Tipperary 115.
Well, we played very well in the second half, and again, it can turn on nothing sometimes, you couldn't see that performance coming really, but we had created, we scored one goal and created another good goal chance in the first half, which we didn't take, and, I think that probably their goal, I would have feel, was preventable by us as well, so, we were going pretty well in the first half, but we certainly upped the gears the second half, and we did play very well for sure.
Can I just ask you about Larry Corbett's role today, because he did seem to follow the Kilkenny defenders around a lot. It almost became a bit of a sideshow, a bit farcical at times.
Well, I suppose that's just one of the tactics that we work out before the game, and you see how he got on with it. I'm not sure how well it worked today, but we'll have to have a look at it again.
Northern final. It's in its own right, and we're just going to be to focusing on that. Obviously, the fact that we're getting to play Galway again, having lost the Leinster final, is an added bonus. But it at the end of the day, regardless of who we would have been facing, the goal is still the same. We want to win that match and win the All-Ireland, and ultimately that's what we'll be focusing in on.
Yeah, so there it is, the lineup for the 2012 All-Ireland hurling final. It's Galway versus Kilkenny on Sunday, September the 9th. Now, there's so many talking points. We're getting a lot of contact from our viewers about Tipperary's tactical performance and Lara, etc. But first of all, it's only right, Donald, to give credit to Kilkenny for an awesome performance.
Yes, Des, I suppose when you look at it at half-time, and if you look at it dispassionately, you'd say, that Kilkenny were the better team, they were more creative. Tip, I think, just after Kilkenny had scored, Tip came back and got, lucky enough for a goal. David Herty maybe could have cleared it, and they were staying in the game. The spread of scores for Kilkenny was much greater in the first half, but really when, after the first goal went in the second half by Aidan Fogarty, the floodgates opened, and then you saw the real Kilkenny take over, and Tip kind of lost their way a bit. I was baffled a little bit by their tactics, I must say, and at the end of the game, it was just target practice for Kilkenny.
We're going to chat, Michael, about the Tip tactics and have a look at it in a moment, but it's like leadership seemed to be gone as well on the pitch.
Yeah, well, I suppose the first thing is, I think the whole country is amazed by the result. I think most people couldn't make up their mind, and I went for Tip last week. I had to put my hands up. I thought it'd be a tight game, one way or the other, but I can't believe the scoreline at the end of the game. And exactly, Tip can be a bit like that. They can be a little bit flaky, but it was Kilkenny, who had all the leaders, who had all the passion, the desire, the determination, and again, at half-time, there was only a point in it, and Tip were leading, and it was totally against the run of play, in my opinion. But yet, it was a great place to be, and I expected them to come out in the second half and build on that. But they didn't. They had no shape to their forward play, and Kilkenny just completely outscored them. I think Tip scored 1-7 from play, Kilkenny scored 4-13 from play, which is, and Tip only scored a few points in the second half. So
I think it was 3-15 to 5 points in the second half. Which
it was an amazing result, but a great, you have to say, a brilliant performance by Kilkenny. But I wouldn't be, if I was Kilkenny, I wouldn't be getting overly carried away with it, because I think it was hard to believe how poor Tipperary were.
Okay, well, let's start looking at it now. As you said, Tip hanging in there. Ironically, they led by a point, not being the better team. But then a couple of key moments, key scores you felt turned it.
Yeah, I think early in the second half, I think the first goal by Kilkenny put enormous pressure on Michael Carroll, a free, and then this one. And if you look at it, Colin Fennelly's enough time, take a few steps, look across, and he sent a lovely looping ball. He could see that Aidan Fogarty had a 10-yard run on Thomas Stapleton. And, this set the tone really. This was a marvellous goal by Kilkenny, and I think it put them, they went a point in front then, and this was the turning point. Great burst of speed. Well, Fogarty always had that, and, the ball, I felt when he hit it, that was a little spin in the ball. I think Conor Manning got a slight little hook, and the spin, I think, caught Brendan Cummins, and once it took his hurley, it went into the corner. But, you know, this finished the game then as a match. Right, great. A lot of space for Kilkenny. Once they got the goal, their half forward, they moved away out into the middle field, let loads of space in front of Owen Larkin. He was very sharp today, and when he gets the ball like that and he runs at you, very, very difficult to stop. So once Kilkenny got those scores, you know, they were on a roll, and with 20 minutes to go, I think the game was finished.
Now, Brian Hogan's post-match interview, Michael, gave an example of how hungry they still are and the focus in the final. And they showed that hunger, didn't they? And with the pressure they were putting on the Tip players.
Well, I think throughout the field, yeah, and what you normally look for is for your forwards to lead, you know, from your full forward line to put the pressure on. And Pádraig Maher here was shown, he's a key man for Tipperary so off. But look at TJ Reid breathing down his neck, forces a half clearance. Now Richie Power comes in, you know, probably a foul there, got away with it. Hand pass in here to Aidan Fogarty again, and he puts it over the bar. But I think it's one of the first times I could say I was at a match where I think Kilkenny won every battle on the field. I think they won all outfield battles, and you know, that's very unusual. But you see here again, you know, Tipperary trying to burst out with the ball, over carrying Kilkenny men everywhere. There's 5 Kilkenny men in the frame there. Here's Conor O'Mahony in the second half. He's just surrounded there by TJ Reid. There's Colin Fennelly tackling, and Paul Kern trying to burst out here, and you know, look, half a clearance out now. I think maybe Aidan Fogarty had the hurling around the neck, but there you go again. TJ Reid, Owen Larkin again a flick, and then Aidan Fogarty fouled by Conor O'Mahony, and you know, that sets the tone and it makes it very easy on your backs. I felt that Tipperary couldn't get any sort of a supply into their forward line because of the pressure that Kilkenny were putting on, and as the tone was set by their forwards today.
Yeah. So Tipperary people looking at it will have been alarmed by several things, maybe lack of leadership, but you said lack of creativity was a huge factor.
You could see there in those clips that Michael highlighted, there was a lack of support play all through. I mean, you know, you offload the ball quickly if you're playing Kilkenny and you want it, you know, you offload the ball fast, and Pádraig Maher drives forward here. He's been tackled by Owen Larkin, who's a full forward at this stage, and we just highlighted there's 4 Tipperary forwards, like, who you'd be expecting to be inside. John O'Brien is the furthest forward. You know, Pádraig Maher was left with little to do and knocked the ball forward in straight into David Herity, and there was only 4 points between them at this stage, so you know, a point or two there would have brought Tipperary back into it. There's Noel McGrath, lovely little ball into John O'Brien, and when he turns and looks, there's the amount of space that you can see inside. No option for John O'Brien, can't do anything with it except maybe shoot for a score, which he does. And then the ball comes off the post, and you know, a cute corner forward ball really, and it's knocked into net, and the first man in there is Patrick Bonamar, who's not a scorer really, he's a worker and a provider. And Noel McGrath, you know, wonderful skills, but just gets the ball, hits it over the shoulder. See inside there, no forward when they were chasing the game. I think 5 points in at that time. So you could see, I think, you know, you'd be very frustrated if you were a Tipperary fan there today looking at that type of play, because you'd expect a lot more from them.
And do you think the forwards were drifting out because there was no ball coming in?
Well, it's hard to say, Des, because you know, I mean, that's one of the reasons. But I mean, the thing is, they took off Brian O'Mara, who's a target man. They had Patrick Bonamar, who's a provider in full forward. That's fair enough if you want to play him there and you break the ball, but then you have to have a scorer next to him. But they all seem to be chasing around. I wasn't sure what tactics they were playing. They were trying to isolate Kilkenny backs, but they weren't then running in, you know, off their shoulders or angle play. I thought it was a very mismatch sort of a performance by Tipperary up front. And in fairness to their half-backs, it would be very hard for them to pick out forwards because they were standing in a cluster, as we saw, You know.
Well, that leads us to the Lar, which is emerging as the story today. I feel sorry for Lar on one level, but this is tactically the bizarre element.
Well, the first thing happened today, Kilkenny went man-to-man on the 6. You know, they didn't play in any position. They said they pick up a man each. We won't go through who was on who. But Lara went out. I don't know what his role was in the game today. He's a class player over the years, a brilliant forward. You see now Jackie Turl maybe pull out of his helmet there to start. But Lara seemed to be obsessed with following Tommy Walsh around and trying to get in his face. Tommy had a yellow card early in the game. But, you know, Declan Ryan intimated after that it was tactics. And, you know, to me it was the most bizarre thing I ever saw. Lara Corbett basically and Pa Burke and Jackie Turl and Tommy Walsh were within a few yards of each other for the whole game, and I think as a result there was no shape to the Tipperary forward line because obviously there was 2 other players out of it straight away. I think Lara made no contribution to the game. You know, they played into Kilkenny's barrel, they put no pressure on the Kilkenny defence, and you know, there you can see the frustration of Lara. He had his hands up, he was looking out to the sideline, and he got involved there with Jackie Turl.
You can't blame his frustration.
Well, I can't, but what I can't, you know, I don't know. And none of us know whether it was a tactic that, you know, what was the tactic if it was a tactic. But like this is the other side of Lara Corbett. A ball is just flicked into him here by Bonner Maher, and just watch this hand pass here, like the back of his hand into John O'Neill. And you know, he scored. I think Tipperary set up 2 years ago in 2010. Their tactics were a lot of movement in their forward line and Lara breaking onto the ball, and he scored 3 goals. Today he was totally concentrating on the man or on outside issues, and as I said, there was no shape whatsoever.
Okay,
and like Tipperary ended up. It's their biggest championship defeat since 1897, You know, and it just, I don't know what was going on. It was confusing and embarrassing.
Yeah, I can see that. But in fairness to the management, and I don't know, was the tactic maybe try and annoy Tommy Walsh, keep Tommy Walsh out of the game?
Well, the thing is, obviously you want to negate the influence of Tommy Walsh when you're playing Kilkenny, because if you're hurling the ball down to him, he'll destroy. He destroyed Tip in the first half last year. Bonamar got the better of him this year, or in the second half last year. So I'd have felt Bonamar was the man for Tommy, put Noel McGrath centre forward, and then put Lara in full forward, because it was obvious Jackie Turtle was going to pick him up. I don't think Jackie's that comfortable at full back as he's in the corner, or even when he's chasing players outside. And I think he won the battle last year because Lark Harbour was running all over Croke Park, and Jackie had the simple task of just following around. I would have placed Lark Harbour full forward and try and place the ball in then in Noel McGrath centre forward. I think he's a better centre forward than wing forward. But as I said, they got caught up in trying to negate Tommy Walsh. I mean, if Tommy Walsh picked up a yellow card, which he did early on, well, the best way then is to win the ball and run at him, because he can't foul you, because if he does, he's gone. So, I mean, I couldn't understand, maybe the tactics were too negative, maybe they got caught up in that, but I felt, looking at Lark Harbour today, that maybe he was playing to instructions, and certainly they didn't work.
Have you sympathy for Lark?
Well, I have, of course, because, I mean, he's one of the top forwards in the game, but, you know, you use your top forwards to do what they do best, and that's to get scores for you, right? And he wasn't going to get any scores running around like that, because then he got no real direct ball. I didn't see him being fed with any great amount of ball, but I would have played him inside, and maybe had Pa Burke and maybe Bonamar coming on and John O'Brien coming on.
But Bonamar ended up, to me, he's been the best centre forward in the championship prior to today. He ended up playing the whole game nearly as an isolated full forward, and with high balls gone in. And Brian Hogan won at least 5 or 6 high balls in there. Brian Hogan has played a huge amount of hurling at full back for his club and has loads of experience there. So they played right into Kilkenny's barrel throughout. And, you know, you can't take away from Kilkenny. Won it by 18 points in the end. They were the better team from the start of the game. But I would have thought Tip would have went out and lined up as a team in the second half, instead of they looked totally disjointed. And if it wasn't Lark Harbour's decision, I obviously feel very, very sorry for him. He looked very frustrated. He was late coming out for the second half. And, you know, we've talked about him many times for all the great things he's done in the game. But whatever went on today, Tip got it badly wrong.
All right. Well, it's time to name our man of the match from this afternoon. Not an easy choice. There were several contenders from Kilkenny, but eventually Michael's choice as man of the match was Aidan Fogarty.
Aidan, congratulations. Kilkenny really sent out a very strong message today.
Yeah, look, we're delighted with the result. It's a tough game. We knew it was going to be a tough game. There's nothing between the two teams. So second half we picked up a good bit and just got the result in the end.
And your second half goal really helped you pull away.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, put the kind of spurt in the legs there, you know, and I think we're close enough, 3 or 4 points at that stage, and the goal kind of pulled away at that stage, and we're beginning to win the breaks and kind of kicked on from there.
How much are you relishing another shot at Galway?
Yeah, look, Galway absolutely blew us away in the Leinster final. Can't say nothing from it. They're a very good team, but we'll train for the next 3 weeks, put the heads down, and we'll be up for it anyway.
Well, Aidan, congratulations. You are our man of the match, and Jerry Conlon from Guinness is here to present you with the award.
All right, well done, Aidan. I was there when he broke his ankle a while back in Nolan Park, so it's a great recovery for him. We're going to turn our attention now to today's minor semi-final, and I saw Tip take on Galway.